Can my network administrator know that I am using a virtual router to access the internet on my unauthorized devices? I am a university student, and my university's network administrator uses MAC addresses, one MAC address, student, to authorize access to the internet. The students regularly use virtual routing softwares to create a hotspot to connect to their other devices. MAC spoofing is one possible workaround, but spoofing on a handheld device, for example, an Android device, requires root access, which itself is a pain to gain. Recently, the administrator redirected all the students to refrain from using hotspots, otherwise he will punish those who don't comply, by removing the student's MAC address from the authorized MAC's database, I suppose. I have a strong feeling that he is just plain bluffing. My query is it at all possible for the administrator to know that a device is using virtual routing to connect to other unauthorized devices? Note: I tried searching for resources online, for example, how do exactly the virtual routers network, but I couldn't find any substantial information. I would appreciate even if someone could point me to some resources which would be of use to me.
Yes, your use of a wireless hotspot can be identified using a wireless intrusion prevention system. The primary purpose of a WIPS is to prevent unauthorized network access to local area networks and other information assets by wireless devices. These systems are typically implemented as an overlay to an existing wireless LAN infrastructure, although they may be deployed standalone to enforce no wireless policies within an organization. Some advanced wireless infrastructures have integrated WIPS capabilities.
Besides physically running around and detecting hotspots via VLAN traffic, warwalking, or maybe using the existing router to detect them, traffic patterns can also be a giveaway. Your hotspot has a different signature than your device. Instead of working against your sysadmin, which is a PETA for both sides, talk to him. I don't know why they have the 1 MAC per student rule. Maybe they can relax it a bit? Say, 2 or 3 MACs per student. Not much more trouble to administrate. I don't know how the political side of the student representation works at your uni, but often students can voice their interests in some way. Yes, this is slower than just setting up a hotspot, but also more effective.
I used to work as a network administrator's assistant for a college. It sounds like a generational difference issue, or the school's network can't handle more than one device for each student, staff member, etc. Probably every student has more devices than the policy allows. The short answer is yes, they can detect unauthorized access. No, don't do it. I routinely revoked access for network violations, file sharing, illegal software, viruses, porn in the computer labs, etc. Many of those students had to leave school, because college is quite difficult without computer access. The students are exposing the network to risk. What if someone's unauthorized device passed a virus that wiped your doctoral research and thesis? If you think it's a joke now, try it at a job and see what happens. Work with the network administrator, student government, administration, etc. to get additional wireless access for your other devices that don't need to be on the school's network and or in common areas, like the free Wi-Fi in most coffee shops. This prevents load on the actual school network, and still gives you the internet access you want.
I can think of a handful of ways to detect this kind of behavior in a network. The restriction is not a great one when really what they should do is limit connections by port rather than MAC, but it's their network and their rules, even if it does create an easy, targeted, denial of service attack if you were to spoof someone else's MAC address. Taking this URL as a starting point, it seems pretty clear that any decent wireless infrastructure would be able to detect rogue hotspots. Even a DVWRT box can do a wireless survey to see what else is around. Since the admins control the traffic, its tools like Snort can also be brought to bear and would give you away pretty quickly if the admins were keen to find people who weren't compliant. Some protocols don't even hide that they're operating through NAT. RFC 7239 has HTTP headers like X forwarded specifically for use by web proxies. RFC 2821 advises SMTP clients to send an optional identifier, though it's not mandatory. The only way you could really hide something like that is to have the device which connects to their network send everything out to a VPN, or system like Tor, which in itself would raise some attention in your direction. While not exactly the same situation, as they don't seem to have the same restrictions, the University of Cambridge's security team do frown upon the use of NAT in their network as seen in firewalls and network address translation policy, and provide some background on their reasoning. TL, Doctor, if you want to use more devices, then you need to go through the system and student representation to address the issues you're facing, because if your admins want to catch you, then they will.
Unau.